Welcome back to another episode of Run the Receipts. I am your host, Mr. Receipts. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you being here. Today, we're going to talk about a show that Nick Cannon has. It's called Truth on Trial. And this one, he has Candace Owens on here. It's just funny that it's called Truth on Trial. The conversation that's going to be had is basically, should we lie to people to make them feel better? So we're going to do a review on this and going to talk about it. So let's begin.
We said this in our last session, and I say this here, where I don't see in our exchange of energy and even discourse, I don't see someone hateful. I don't see someone with an agenda to whatever they think your agenda is. I see someone who's really trying to help and educate people, someone who's brilliant and wants everyone else to read what she's read, knows what she knows. But like me, like you, when you can say something that offends someone and someone's emotions get involved, then that becomes the story. That becomes the attack on Candace Owens, opposed to your ultimate mission where you were really just trying to help people. So what I learned through the process is, and it's funny, as a father, I learned this and deal with this with my son, is like when you start throwing rocks and someone gets hit by a rock that you weren't intending to hit with that rock, you still gotta apologize.
So basically, he's telling Candace that, Candace, I know you want everyone to be upfront, be honest, be truthful, educate yourselves, learn what it is that you're doing, learn what it is that you're speaking, so on and so forth. Like adults, this is what we do as we grow up and mature. But on the flip side of that, he's like, but also in doing so, Candace, you need to recognize that you telling people the truth, you telling someone to educate themselves, you telling someone not to lie to someone, you hurt feelings. And you need to realize and recognize that there's feelings involved, even though that you're being honest, not that you're being disrespectful in the manner of how disrespect is initially supposed to be, but just you telling the truth is being disrespectful. And he's saying you need to acknowledge and recognize that you being upfront and honest, being truthful, and telling someone like it is, you might not want to do that. You might want to dial it back some. Even though this is called Truth on Trial.
You still have to understand the power in which you have. Your voice is so strong. The words, the knowledge that you have, that if you, not even if you say it wrong, if you say it correctly, they're going to dice it up and use it for evil.
You see that? He said, even if you say it correctly, they're going to dice it up and use it for evil. That's not Candace Owens' problem. That's not any of our problems. That if you tell someone the truth, and you being respectful about it, and you're educating someone and you giving them the information, that's not your problem if someone gets offended by the truth, even though you're doing it respectfully. So what you're asking, and that's what drives me crazy about this, anybody who does the right thing, anyone who does right by others and take the low, that's not the aggressor or anything like that, other people on the outside will always ask you to take the low. They see you as the one that's not harmful. You're the one that's sane. You're the one that doesn't have the mental illness. So they'll look at you and tell you, okay, I know there's something wrong with this group over here, but I need you to pretend, you know what I'm saying, what they're doing and how they're acting or behaving or carrying themselves. I just need you to go along with it because, you know, you're the easier one to deal with. And I know if I talk to you, you'll kind of take the low. That gets on my nerves because that happens to me and my brothers all the time. They'll look at you as and expect you to be the one that's passive, but you're the one that's making the most sense. Let's continue.
And in that sense, if you want to continue the mission of good, if you want to continue the mission of God, you have to you got to rise to a higher frequency.
So notice, he said, if you want to come to the recognition, of God, no, God is about telling the truth. God is about you being honest. The scripture tells you, and he shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Not everyone's going to accept the truth. You say what your job is to say the truth, and then those who see it, do your research, understand it, see it for what it is. Those are the ones that are going to come into the knowledge and understanding of what, let's just use what Nick is talking about, what God is required of you to do. And then guess what? You do that. That's not going to be the masses. That's not your problem, though. The masses, you don't expect them to be to know and do and want to do the truth. That's why we have the acceptance of the LGBTQ community. That's why we have the acceptance of those who coming across the border illegally. That's why we have these things set up the way they are, because not everyone wants the truth. The only people that you need to deal with is the ones that are in your circle that acknowledge the truth. All of you are on the same page and move forward. The rest of the people, there's nothing that you can do about that, because if you try to spend your whole life trying to appease everybody, you're going to end up losing yourself along the process.
And say, you know what? I apologize that I hurt you. And
see, I can't do that. If I told the truth and you got hurt by it, I can't apologize.
Why?
I absolutely refuse to do that.
What is stopping the goodness in me?
Because then I would be lying. I'm never sorry when I tell someone the truth. I'm never sorry when I tell someone the truth. No.
You're a mother. You're
I'm
a mother,
yeah. And
you know your children's feelings.
We're not dealing with children.
So let's stop right there. He said you're a mother and you deal with children. Now, I have children, and when my children were little, I never told my children that there was a Santa Claus that was coming down the chimney to give them presents. Now, mind you, I don't celebrate those things anymore, but I used to. But during those times that I did, I never lied to them about that and told them there was a fat man in a red suit riding on reindeer. I never told them that. I never told them anything about the Easter bunny and the Easter bunny lays eggs and, you know, things of that. I never told them that. I never told them that if they put their tooth under a pillow, now you have the tooth fairy that'll come through. Because at what point, when does it end? When does it stop? So even when they be like, you have children, I've always been the type of parent who was honest with my children. And I tried my best to teach my children reality. We have to live in reality. And I taught them that from a young age, because at some point, they're gonna find out that Santa Claus does not exist. So why even put something in their mind at that young of an age? And then on top of that, we'll look at our children and we'll say, Johnny, don't you lie to me. Don't lie to me, Johnny. But then you will tell Johnny that there's a fat man in a red suit, that if you be good, he'll put some, stuff in your stockings and put some presents under the tree. But you tell Johnny don't lie. For me, in my opinion, that's confusion. So I already know where Nick was going when he's like, you have children. And that's dangerous, because you teach your children fantasies. So when they get older, it goes beyond the holidays. Now it goes into your regular everyday life. Then now that you have to lie because these people over here who are LGBTQ community, you have to lie to make them feel good. Or you have to lie to the person at your job in order to make them feel good, whatever that scenario looks like. Or you got to lie to the child at school because the teacher has to lie to the child at school because that makes them feel better. And if the teacher doesn't lie to the child at school, then he can get in trouble. And in the situation I'm talking about, there was a teacher, I think it was in Virginia. He had to use pronouns to a young lady who decided that she now wanted to be a man. So he was going to be suspended from the school if he didn't do so. He ended up getting fired because he said, I'm not doing that. I will call the lady by the new name that she wants to be called, but I'm not using any pronouns. So now they expect you to live a lie to make other people feel good. I'm not doing that. And I agree with Candace. No, none of us should do that.
problem. We're dealing with adults. So the idea of me apologizing because, and this is funny because I was texting earlier with Ray J. He saw a clip of me and Don Lemon, and he was saying,
that's a hilarious clip. Just you texting with Ray J.
And Don Lemon was looking for an apology. Oh, this clip. Oh. Yeah. And Don Lemon was looking for an apology, but Ray J, I guess, was saying that he knew some trans women, and I'm like,
or he has a whole trans network,
and it's just whatever he's doing there. To me, is demonic. It's demonic. It's because it's a lie. Okay. And so I was like, yes, let's have a conversation. Of course, respectfully. If you say to me, you should respect people, I always respect people. I would disrespect you if I lied to you.
And she's absolutely right. For any of you who have not watched Candace Owens, I highly recommend that you go on her show. And she's just upfront, and then she's honest, and she's respectful about the things that she says, or she respectful about how she presents it, and she's respectful in the things that she believes. There's nothing wrong with that. And people will take the truth and find that to be offensive, and then they'll try to force you to lie to make other people around you feel good. We can't do that. And I'm listening to this, and I'm like, we're adults here. When is it good for adults? And what lessons does that teach to the youth, those that are behind us? If we as adults are the ones that are supposed to frame the mindsets of the youth, and we're sitting here living lies, then what you're doing is in the next 10, 15, 20 years, everything is going to be about a lie. There's going to be no accountability, and the inmates will end up running the asylum. And all the normal people, there's going to be something wrong with you if you're normal. That's where we're headed to.
I'm not going to call a man a woman. I'm not going to call a woman a man. I'm not going to say sorry for telling the truth.
Your beliefs.
It's not my belief. A woman.
So notice, he said that's all your beliefs. But a couple of minutes ago, he spoke about if you want to be godlike. So no, Nick, if you believe in God, there's only one belief, and it tells you it's man, and then there's woman, and then there's nothing else. And you're supposed to stand on the things that you believe. You don't compromise to make somebody else feel good. That's an issue that they have to deal with, because if you compromise, and I'm just using Nick and the things that come out of his mouth, you're gonna have to meet the Lord one day. And if you have to meet the Lord one day, he's gonna ask you, what did you do in this situation? You don't necessarily have to ask. I'm just painting a picture for everyone that's listening. He's going to ask you, what did you do? And you in your own mind, you're going to be convicted because you compromised to make everybody feel good. And now the Lord's going to look at you like, yeah, you lived your life a lie. And guess what? You condemned your own self. That's what people don't understand. And that day, the Lord don't have to say anything. You're going to remember all the things that you said and done wrong. And you're going to be like, yep, I deserved it. And in the sake of making everyone else feel good. Let's continue.
A woman cannot be a man, and a man cannot be a woman.
Again, but I'm saying in your perception of the world is different from someone else's, because just as emphatic as you are, that you believe what you just said, there's someone that believes emphatically the opposite.
So he's saying this is how you perceive it in your world, but someone else is going to perceive it differently in their world. Okay, well, you're asking me to conform to their world. Not conform, I'm telling you I'm conforming to the truth. If me and you are having a disagreement on, let's say, how to fix an engine, but there's an owner's manual in the glove box. If we open the owner's manual, that should be the deciding factor on what the truth is. And then now we got to fix the engine according to what the owner's manual says. Me and you, hey, enough with the going back and forth. Nah, man, I say the part should be here and this is what we need to do. And you say, no, it ain't that piece right there. In my opinion, this pump needs to be changed. And once we change the pump and you say, no, in my experience, that ain't what I've seen. All right, this is how we solve the problem. Let's go to the owner's manual and see what the owner's manual says. Okay, the owner manual, you was right. So, hey, I'm sorry, you was right. This is what the owner manual says. We do need to change the pump. It was the pump. And then we fix the pump and we keep it moving. But you don't get to tell me oh man, the owner's manual says fix the pump, and then I continue to argue with you when you were the one that says, yeah, we should go to the owner's manual because that's what it says. So again, using Nick's own logic, okay, if you believe in God, then we need to go to the Bible then and see what the Bible says. And according to the Bible that you say that you believe in, this is how we're supposed to do it. So those who don't agree and don't conform to that, that's their problem. But the truth is what this says. And that truth is supposed to be my truth, and I don't have to compromise, and neither do you, Candace. That's how it's supposed to go. But we know this is Hollywood, so.
Okay, so what you're talking about is the idea that everything can be subjective and there's no such thing as truth. And let me tell you why that. Let me. But that's why it's either yes or a no.
No, because we're either talking about feelings or facts.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I believe there is objective truth. Okay.
Okay.
A person that is born a man, okay, a person that is born with a penis, as we call it, okay, cannot ever grow up and give birth. Do we agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so.
And the fact that he paused that long to acknowledge something that he knows to be a truth, that's a problem. And that's why I can't take someone serious when you actually know what the truth is. You know what logic and reasoning is. You've seen it your whole life. Matter of fact, Nick, you have, I don't know how many he has, but I know he has what, like 6, 8 kids or something like that. So you know the only way to produce children is you had to lay down with these women in order to produce children. Now all of a sudden you're confused and it's taking you a minute to answer a question in which you've known your whole life.
There is such thing as an objective truth. I will not apologize for sharing objective truth. I'm not going to apologize for not saying because his feelings are hurt and do you see how I feel? Because
so you have no problem going throughout the world hurting people's feelings.
I have no problem going out the world. That's one way to pitch it. Telling people the truth so they can better their lives. They can live in reality and not the one, not the fantasy land that they're creating for their lives. But what if someone
believes that is a better life for them?
Okay, well, let's play it your way then. Let's do it the other way. There are a group of people who are now referring to themselves as minor attracted people.
Oh, you can't go there.
Hey, but that's what they believe. They believe that they are in love and want to have sex with children. They believe that, Nick. They believe it. And are you going to apologize when you call them pedophiles? Are you going to apologize, Nick? Are you going to have?
And that's the point that she's making. When does it end? When does it end? Because now you're telling me that I have to conform to these ideologies, and I know that that's not the truth. I know that's a lie, and you're telling me that I have to go along with it. So when does it end? Because if I say, no, we can have pedophiles, then at some point, guess what's gonna happen after that? Something else, and then something else, and then something else. And then once you get to the point where you're like, no, we can't allow this situation to happen, they're gonna say, well, you allowed pedophiles, so why can't we do this now? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense that you would continuously just look the other way, knowing that you don't agree, knowing how it messes up society, knowing how it doesn't look right, knowing that it eliminates the existence of mankind, knowing that by your beliefs, you know that God says it is wrong, knowing all these things, knowing that you have to now accept mental illness and everything that comes with that, like she's saying the pedophiles, knowing that you know and understand all of that, you're still gonna tell me that, well, you know, 'cause it's gonna hurt somebody's feelings. So feelings over reason, feelings over logic, feelings over future of continuation of families. So we gotta cast all that stuff aside because of feelings. We in trouble.
Have them on your podcast. Don't you understand how they feel on the inside when you say that they can't have sex with 8-year-olds?
That is a hell of a point.
It is The slippery slope is not a fallacy, it is reality. We are living the slippery slope. So somebody's gonna have to produce the wall. So there's gonna be a lot of voices that need to be objective and tell people the truth. I'm very happy to be those voices. If you're looking for me to, make you feel good, I can't be your mommy. I can't. That's what I said. I can't be your mommy.
But see, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not your mommy. You're not a toddler. You're an adult.
But see,
this is what truth is. And if you can't deal with truth, then you're going to have a very tough life, way tougher than having to listen to Candace Owens say, you are a man on the internet.
So, but again, in your ultimate goal, what is your ultimate goal?
For my children to grow up in a world that is still dictated by reality and not feelings,
and that's what everybody's ultimate goal should be. And I was saying that a few minutes ago. I want my children to live in reality. I want my kids to know the truth. I want my kids to not have to lie. I want my kids to not have to feel convicted on the inside because everyone is looking at them. And if they say something being honest and in fear of hurting somebody's feelings, there's repercussions to it. Because again, now it's getting to the point that you can't be in the military if you hurt somebody's feelings. Now to get to the point that, at a job, you can lose your job because you won't make someone feel good about themselves based on a lie. Like, where does it end? Your livelihood is on the line. That's what it's going to look like in the next 10, 15, 20 years if we don't get a handle on this situation right now. Because I want my children to live in reality. And I'm not going to be here forever. So once I'm gone, I want my children to have that understanding so that they can pass that down to their children. And the fact that it's only a small number of men and women who see it and believe it this way is scary. It's scary.
Because that's the thing. We are passing this world off. So you have to appreciate that we're now the adults. We're the adults in the room, right? And right now we have a bunch of adults who are too scared to even say the truth. So forget the generations who had to find within themselves the strength to go to a foreign country and potentially die fighting for freedom. We're now a generation where it's so easy for us to preserve freedom. It's so easy for us to preserve righteousness. We just have to be willing to be called mean names on the internet and have mean articles written about me. People say to me, "Oh, Candace, how do you deal with all this hate?" I don't care. But literally, I don't care. It's like I really hope people listening to this understand, before you even write that comment, how little of a shit I give about it. Like, I want you to know that when you're writing it, whatever about her, I just don't care. And it shocks people because I live my life with real truth.
And it's a shame that those who live in reality, this is how it has to be, when that should be the norm. It should just be a regular everyday conversation with somebody to where you don't even have to think and feel like that. But it's like you're combative with every other person that you come across, whether it be family members or on your workplace. There's always someone that you have to have conversations with. And in your mind, as you're conversing with them, you're like, dang, man, but this stuff is supposed to be normal. But their response is, yeah, but you got to make other people and how they feel. And it's like, are you serious? What do you mean how they feel? So based on how they feel, that means one of y'all have to conform. So either you just gonna give in to insanity, or you can stay in your logic and your reason and be like, nah, man, this is where I'm at and this is how I see it and this is how I know to be true. Because society has always operated off of the truth. And then what changed over the past, 10, 15 years? Something else changed. When you read in Romans 1, where it says, who changed the truth of God into a lie? Something happened where the truth has now been turned into a lie. And now the lie has now become the truth. And now everyone wants to now live in the lie. And like I said, we just basing it off of Nick's beliefs and Candace's beliefs. If you believe that, then guess what? You're going to have to meet your maker when it comes to that. And if you're trying to live a lie in order to make other people happy, God is going to deal with you severely, sorely. So understand that. And that's what Candace is trying to convey to Nick. No, Nick, you got to stay on what the truth is, the straight and narrow, regardless of what everybody else says and thinks and feel about you, because that's going to happen regardless. If you tell the truth, people aren't going to like you. If you lie, people aren't going to like you. So why don't you just be who you are and be yourself and live in the truth, live in your truth, and then let it be as it may. And don't worry about all the naysayers, because that's going to come with the territory anyway.
Right? I have a husband who loves me. I have 3 healthy children. I am close with my sisters. My cousin's here. She does my makeup. Like, the Bible kind of gets it right. If you start living by the Bible, you will have this same confidence. You will find the audacity. You will realize this is not it. So you might as well contribute truth, because you're going to meet your maker. You are going to meet your creator one day. And your creator is not, whatever organization, the SPL, I think I'm on the SPLC's list, the ADL list. I just don't care, right? They shouldn't put together these lists. They shouldn't waste their time putting me on their list, because I literally don't give a shit, And so that's why they hate me the most, because they know I don't fear them.
And that's the beautiful thing, is you got to surround yourself with people who are like-minded like you and who loves you. Albeit it might be just your husband and your children and a few other people that she just named, and seek comfort in just that. Let that be your truth, and don't worry about what everybody else on the outside says, who doesn't help you in any kind of way, whether it's resources or with your children or food or rent or none of that. They don't pay any of your bills. So why are you so caught up in what they have to say about you? They can't mess up your livelihood. Everything is good. You have a tight-knit circle, so everything is good. So if you living in honesty, that's the only thing that we can do, is try to be as honest as possible as we can until we're no longer here. And then guess what? You said, Lord, I didn't have a lot of people around me because I didn't agree with them. So I found the ones that were like-minded, and we lived in the truth as best as we can. And then you let the Lord weigh that into balance. But I'm not trying to seek seek love from other people who are not invested. They just want me to make them feel good. I'm not investing myself in them. I'm not seeking their love and their affection in any of those things. Because like I said, one of us have to compromise, and I'm not doing it.
I fear telling a lie. That's what I fear. That's my fear in life.
Wow. So, and people's feelings.
You see how he glossed over that? She's like, I fear telling a lie. He's like, wow, okay, well, people's feelings. Instead of letting that click and register in his mind is, you know what, you're right. I should fear lying to people. I shouldn't want to lie to people, especially if I say that I believe in God. Why would I want to lie to anybody? Because any basic person knows you don't have to know the Bible from cover to cover. You don't have to know much at all. But one thing you do know for sure is you ain't supposed to lie. Anybody who lies or tells lies, who has a conscience, once you tell a lie, that doesn't make you feel good. So to be able to gloss over and be like, oh, but I understand that, you hate telling lies because, you're fearful of the judgment and repercussions, because we understand what God says about lying. But I get it. But what about everybody else's feelings? Nah, we can't do that. You better fear the Lord more than you fear what somebody else has to say.
Don't matter to you.
I'm just not their mommies.
But again, because the point that I was making, we'll wrap this session up as well. But the only point that I was making, in someone who has such a strong faith, and is attempting to be as Christ-like as possible, to go waving that sword at everybody that doesn't agree with you. And because ultimately you're hurting their feelings. They're crying. There's an adverse reaction to what you're saying.
So again, he mentions Christ-like. Christ just told the truth. You saw what he did with the scribes and the Pharisees when he was flipping over the tables or whatnot, even when he was going to help the people. Like, for example, when he helped a woman who was about to be stoned. Everybody always says, God says, or Christ says, he who has not sinned cast the first stone. Yeah, everybody quotes that, but they never quote the end part when he when everyone left and it was just him and the woman, he said, go and sin no more. He wasn't teaching, he wasn't giving you a pass to sin. He said, go and sin no more. So did he care about her feelings? Or did he care about her feelings in the sense of, what if she, in her mind, she wanted to commit adultery again? He wouldn't have never said, go and sin no more. He would have just been like, you all right, go do what you do, because I know your feelings is involved. But you know feelings are involved. So if he says go and sin no more, that means you better check your feelings. You got to put your feelings in perspective of, and never mind what I think and what I feel. All I know is he said don't do it again. So never mind how I feel, I ain't doing it. That's how it was supposed to be.
Because it hurts them in their well-being. You're speaking to some people that's all they know, that's all they are. Now, if I'm really trying to operate on the highest frequency, I'm like, I'm gonna let you do you, unless you come into my space with something that will then harm me. Who am I to judge what you do with your life? Especially if I'm attempting to be the one that's saying, hey, I am a light. Let my reflection shine to you, so then maybe we can have discourse or whatever. But
so with that, real quick, yeah, we can always say, yeah, do you and I'll do me, as long as it doesn't affect me. Yeah, that's fine until laws are being passed. And that's fine until at your job they come out with a board and it says now you must speak pronouns. Now you encroaching on my beliefs. So what about the things that I believe and that I know to be true? Even that you at the boss at work, you know this to be true. They're just making you do it now. Supervisor, they're just making you do it now. And you know that's not the truth. In the military, you know that's not the truth, but you're making me do it now. That's why I always say there is no 50-50 meet halfway. It's none of that. Someone is always going to lose in these situations. And it's always seem to be the same ones, the ones that stand up for right things, that have to take the low. And then other laws are being passed and it's intrusive on us. And we'll sit there and say, well, you know, as long as it don't come in our circle, yeah, keep doing that. Keep doing that, because they working in the backgrounds to get inside your bubble, inside of your space, and try to make you change. So when he talks about a higher frequency, that higher frequency is understanding and knowing what the agenda is, what's coming about, what are they throwing in your face. That's what Nick needs to understand. You can't be in no higher frequency and then be oblivious, to what's going on. You have to be aware of what's going on. We see it.
I'm out there spewing things at a community, and then
I'm not spewing things at a community. I get asked a question and I answer it. And that's the wildest part. People will literally ask me what I think, like Don Lemon did.
Yeah,
and
I saw your reaction. But
and then
that
people,
wasn't.
oh my gosh, I can't believe she has the audacity to say this stuff. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think, because you said you believed he was sinning based off of
his homosexual marriage. He is sinning.
But everybody's sinning. You.
And see, we got to stop with that too. Real quick before I address that, he even mentioned the judge thing. And that's a favorite. Everybody says that, judge not lest ye be judged. No one ever continues to read. Reading is fundamentals. Because if you continue to read, it says you have to get the beam out of your own eye. Then after you do that, you can see and you'll be able to judge a matter. All that's talking about is hypocrisy. That's just going into hypocrisy. It's not talking about anything else as far as like you can't judge and you can't speak the truth. That's not what it's talking about. It's saying don't be a hypocrite. If you're committing adultery, then you can't tell somebody else not to be an adulterer because you doing it also.
Viewing things out of community. I get asked a question and I answer it. And that's the wildest part. People will literally ask me what I think, like Don Lemon did.
Yeah,
and
I saw your reaction. But
oh yeah, and then this part, excuse me. So then he says, everyone sins. What does that got to do? Because everyone sins, now we can't speak the truth, so everyone just goes around and sins. Is that how the thing is now? You don't read that anywhere. What it tells you is to work on your sins, fix your sins, so that we can keep each other in line, hold each other accountable. That's why I love the brothers that I have around me and my family that I have around me. No one is saying that we're perfect, but what we do is we do our best to hold each other accountable. And one thing that we won't do is look at each other and say, well, what about you? I know you be messing up sometime too. And I know you do this, that, and the third too. Because, and my response to that would be, well, if I was doing something wrong, why didn't you tell me at the time that I was doing it wrong? But now that I'm getting on you, and now that I'm saying something that I see within you that you need to fix, you need to work on, now you're pointing the finger at me and saying that I need to do something. Next time, man, if you love me, tell me this while I'm in the midst of it. It don't allow me to fall, because who knows how far I could take it. If I'm battling lust, for an example, and you see this on me, say something so I don't now become a fornicator. Say something to me so now I don't become an adulterer. Say something way beforehand if you see something. That's accountability. I'm not going to sit back. I don't want anybody around me that would be like, well, we all sinners, so therefore, because we're all sinners, let everybody just do whatever they want to do. Nah, you can get away from me with that.
And then people, oh my gosh, I can't believe she has the audacity to say this stuff. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think, because you said you believed he was sinning based off of
his homosexual marriage. He is sinning.
But everybody's sinning. You if you eat some bacon today, you sin it. Like, it's
to
like,
be very clear, he then raised the point that everybody sins. I said, yes, that wasn't the question that was asked of me.
So to me, that exchange, like, I watched the whole thing. That was probably one of the softer exchanges that you guys had. So, but to that point, you're fearless. You speak your truth unapologetically. But there has to be, we see you clearly don't give a fuck about what other people say about you, but knowing that you want this better place for your children, it has to lead with some sort of compassion for other people's feelings and how they.
And I'm just gonna be honest with those of you who listen to this video. It's not gonna get any better as far as a whole. The best thing that you can do, again, is find like-minded individuals that you see everything the same way, and you build and you grow from there. That's as best as it's gonna get, because society's gonna get worse and worse. We done already opened up Pandora's box. So where does it end? You're not gonna be able to reverse a lot of these things that's going on. And even having those who voted for Trump and believe in Trump, okay, you might get, 3-4 years of peace in that regard, but after that, you're gonna have a whole new system put in place by a whole new party, whether it be another Democrat or another Republican, and then they're gonna implement their laws, and then you're gonna have new Congress and new government and new mayors and new everything. So there's always gonna be ebbs and flows, or you might have, 4 years of good and then 10 years of bad. So it's always going to fluctuate, and it's never going to be the same when it comes to the system. So the best thing that you can do is get around like-minded people. Don't change in that sense, and definitely don't care about somebody else's feelings. And he doesn't understand that compassion is telling the truth. Compassion means that you love somebody and you care about them enough to tell them the truth and be honest with them. And then hopefully down the line, they'll change. It may not be immediate, but you just hope down the line, whether it be a year from now, 10 years from now, or right before they take their last breath, they realize what they've done or what they've been doing is wrong. And hopefully God will see it and allow them to fix it and allow them to change it. But you don't compromise for wrong. You don't match evil with more evil. That doesn't make any sense. But thank you for listening. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And until next time, everyone have a good one and take care.